and you got a beautiful snapshot of Ephraim's face. Looked like he just contracted some severe rabies. Sorry about that.
It was the Long Island.
It was the Long Island iced tea, man. Right, we've come into better Wi-Fi now, so hopefully this sees us through. Anyway, to be fair, that got us socially warmed up. So I'm just gonna have to reintroduce the topic, right? So let me just go on my tirade again, right?
Yeah, please.
The mindset, right? The mindset which essentially changed my life forever. The mindset that I want you to adopt, that anybody can adopt after you've listened to this live stream all the way through. You're going to develop a more bulletproof mindset in regards to multifaceted areas of life. And the mindset is understanding the importance of abundance. Yeah, abundance, right? Abundance is not always having, but knowing that you can have. Okay, so for example, the self-made millionaire who makes a lot of money and then loses the money, he doesn't sink into some hyper-depressive state because he knows he's got the skills to make that money back. But the guy who wins the lottery, he does get depressed because his fortune was down to blind luck. So abundance isn't always having, but knowing you can have. And we were both like people who, we didn't grow up with money. So our mindsets towards money was always very skewed. And I see a lot of guys in my comments, or just like when I'm browsing the internet hinterland, where as soon as people see people online who are selling something, they immediately christen these people as like scammers, right? Like, oh, this person's scamming people because he's selling things. It's like, bro, if you're great at something, you don't do it for free, right? So the point of this, really what I've discovered, I think we both discovered, especially by being here in Cyprus for this past almost a month, is the more money that we spend, the more money that we make, right? And it's not being reckless. It's not being reckless with money, but it is having more of this carefree, abundant mentality, right? If I spend this money, I will make it back. And you have to view the money that you're spending as an investment. Like everything is an investment, right? If you go, like we go out and we eat steak, we go to nice restaurants, we go to nice bars, we invest money on plane tickets, staying in nice apartments like this one here, like actually investing into an image of yourself that you want the world to perceive you as. So like if I choose to eat at the cheapest restaurant, I'm projecting an image to the world. I'm telling the universe, I'm telling God, I'm telling myself, this is what I think I deserve. But if I choose to position myself in, let's say, an apartment, which is 3 times the amount I would typically pay, I'm almost in this inspired environment then. I'm waking up every day. I'm almost like surrounded by the money that I've invested. And it's inspiring. Rather than like scrimping and thinking, oh shit, I can't afford this. It's almost like you're putting yourself in a place of debt in a way to then motivate you to be more. Is it something you wanted to say?
Yeah, whenever you're ready to
Yeah,
pass
go for it, bro. Go for it.
So yeah, I have two, based on what you just said, I have 2 thoughts here. So the first one is kind of what you were alluding to at the end there. It's kind of like you're backing yourself into a corner in a way. So it's not like you said, it's not that we're being frivolous with money. Like it's a pretty well understood concept. Like when we think about school, paying for university, like everybody understands this is an investment into my future. But when it comes to things that are like less typical, less normal, like skill sets like this, like traveling, like just different things that are not as typical, then yeah, people seem to get really same as what I used to be. People seem to get really uptight regarding these topics. So yeah, it's almost like you are investing into your future self and not being frivolous. So not going and buying the fancy car just to impress people, not buying, do what you want, but not buying the designer clothes because you think that that's gonna change your actual like internal worth. But it's using your money as a tool to purchase the things that will help you move forward in life. So when I first started making like a decent amount of money, I was so scared to spend it. I was piling all of it away in a savings account, in an investment account, because that's what people told me I was supposed to do with money. They're like, oh, well, you don't want to lose it, you don't want to run out, so you have to keep it, you have to stockpile it. And sure, you're always going to want to have a rainy day fund. But what I'm realizing is the money that I've spent, let's say, to learn a skill like programming, has literally 3 to 4x my previous income. And I went into debt for it. So like people might look at that and go, that's not a very good decision. But like now look at my lifestyle. Before I was paycheck to paycheck. I was washing windows. I'd finally gotten a sales job. I was doing all right in it. But like I didn't even like my life that much. Like I didn't even like sales. I don't really like selling and talking to people and having to put on this persona in front of people. I had to dress up all fancy and stuff. And that was all to make money, to stockpile money, to then do what with? Like, we're gonna spend it on something. So I guess the overall message is spend it with intention. You can, it's not bad to spend money, but spend it with intention. Spend it on things that you see as an investment into yourself, and that will help you improve your quality of life. That'll help you improve your actual like sense of self-worth. So like the fancy restaurant analogy that he's giving, it's not fucking going and buying steak and buying bottles just to do it, but it's positioning ourselves in environments where we might happen to run into other like-minded people.
That's it.
And we can kind of just leverage those environments just by virtue of being in them. Whereas if we're always shacking up at a McDonald's and eating, it's like the people that we're gonna meet there, they're probably not gonna be able to do much for us. But like just by virtue of positioning ourselves in a nice environment, in a nice neighborhood, like the quality of people that we meet are closer to the kinds of people that we actually want to interact with, and that can probably help us in different ways. So, but to come back around to what I was saying, yeah, it's like I invested X $1,000 into a programming skill that it took literally a year to pay off. But once it paid off, it now affords me the opportunity to work remotely, like to fly country to country while still making more money than I was making prior to having this skill. So it's an investment, and the investment takes a while to pay off, but you have to have faith that it will pay off. And to be fair, it's a risk just like anything else. So there's nothing to say that the investment won't pay off, but that's where the intentionality comes in. That's where you have to use your discernment and decide, is this an actual, like a good opportunity for me to put my money into, or is this not? So that's really what I have to say on that starting topic.
Yeah, no, I think that's really good. I think actually defining what money is important, right? It's like one of those things where it's like, what is trust? What is justice? It's like this thing. It's like money is this thing that, to a large degree, a lot of us are chasing. But I don't think a lot of times we actually sit down and ask ourselves, what actually is this thing? Now, I don't want to go too down the rabbit hole because I don't know if it's something the audience are going to appreciate, but I do think understanding like what money means to you, because for me, you know, at its core, money is purchasing power, right? I use it to acquire the things that I want, but on a deeper level, it's oxygen, right? The more I have, the more I'm able to breathe, right? It allows me to enjoy a quality of life, and also, more importantly, to allow the people I care about to enjoy a quality of life. It's like, someone said it to me a long time ago, a guy, very wealthy individual, and he said, you owe it to the people that you love to become wealthy. And then as soon as he said that, everything shifted, because before that I was always like, money's this evil thing, like, oh, greedy capitalist. No, money, to use a term by, I think it was Michael Saylor, who said, money is the highest form of human energy, right? The money that you have, your bank balance is a direct reflection of the energy, of the labor, of the person essentially that you are, right? So all of this stored energy, like when someone invests into me, it's not a case of, oh, I'm getting money. It's, I'm getting faith sent in my direction. It's like a million thank yous. Like someone who's consumed my content, they know, like, and trust me, and now they want to work with me. As soon as that money gets sent over to me, I'm violently committed to that person. It's like when we worked together in Warsaw, like, I just want to honor everybody who honors me. And money is this beautiful, it's almost like a contract that you make between people where it's like, I'm going to give you this because I want to receive this. And it's like, it's almost like a way in, you know, it's access. Yeah. Something that I want to do soon is fly first class. Right? Now, flying first class, actually, it's stupid. It doesn't make any sense on the surface. It's like, it's all right, you're on a plane, right? You just need to get to the place. But like you were saying, it's the environment that you're positioning yourself in. Like, I now view a first class ticket as a fee into a private members club, right? If I position myself on a first class flight and I make conversation with wealthy individuals, those connections that I make, I'm going to make that money back. And I think that's the key. It's like understanding that the investments that you make today, they might not actually pay off for another 2 or 3 months, but having that faith, knowing that I'm putting this into the identity that I want to forge, it's so powerful. And so you want to say something?
Yeah, so for me, I see money as choice. I see money as optionality. So the money, like people talk about hoarding money or making a lot of money is evil. Like people want socialism, etc. But like money is what literally dictates pretty much every decision that I make in my life. Money decides where I live, like where I can afford to live. If I don't have a lot of it, then I don't have many choices as far as where I can live. When I eventually have kids, like money determines the environment that my children will grow up in. My dad, for example, he leveraged this for me. He specifically positioned me and my mom in like a more upper class environment that we could barely even afford, because he knew that the education that I would get from an environment like that would be a lot different than the education that I'd get from an inner city like where he went to school. And clearly it's paying off, right? Like just the seeded intelligence that I just got from being in an environment where the teachers were more higher paid, so they had more of an incentive to do their job better, and you can get better teachers with more money, right? So it's like, and that's one aspect, that's environment. Money is access to people. Money determines who your friends are. If you don't have a lot of money, then you can only go to cheap bars, cheap restaurants. So your friends are probably cheap people. Not to say that there's anything wrong with that, but if you're looking at yourself as an individual that wants to ascend that environment, then you kind of have to pay up. So it's choice, it's optionality. It literally dictates like every decision that I make, down to how healthy is the food that I'm purchasing. Am I going to McDonald's because that's all I can afford? Or am I going to these restaurants with Whole Foods? Or am I buying groceries from better grocery stores, etc.? So yeah, that's all I wanted to add there, is that people make it out to be something so evil, but in reality, it literally runs our lives. And it's kind of unfortunate, but in the same token, it's kind of a beautiful thing. We get to take the money that we earn with whatever skill that we've honed, and whatever skill that we've deemed as valuable enough to build, and we get to trade that skill, right? We get to trade those hours, that labor, for an income, and now with that income, we can spend it on whatever we deem is important. And it's very easy to spend it on stuff that's stupid that I used to spend it on: video games, junk food, drugs. But then you realize, wait, I can put these same dollars somewhere way more valuable that will pay off tenfold, on skill sets like this, on skill sets like programming, we want to fly to Mexico City to learn how to fight, like just becoming a more holistic person. So yeah, that's all I wanted to say there.
Yeah, I think spending more money on experiences, like at this point, I've spent tens of thousands of dollars on coaching, on masterminds, on networks, and like, I would have never done that. Like 10 years ago, I would have just been like, what a waste of money that is. Like, I need to go and, get a mortgage or buy a car, whatever I thought. But I think the mindset that I have now is acting as if, like, I'm living my life like I'm already a millionaire, but I just don't have the money in my pocket yet. It's like that acting as if principle, because it's like the way that I see it, it's like the Bible says, as a man thinketh, so is he. Yeah, it's the way that you perceive yourself. Perception's reality. If you think that you are genuinely a millionaire, if you have, and you act that way, yeah, like asking yourself, like, how would the millionaire version of me act today, then it does get you closer. And I do think that the specific skill of cold approach, I do believe it can make anybody a millionaire. I believe cold approach can make anybody a millionaire. Why? Because look at all of the sub skills that you acquire through cold approach. And this is why, like, maybe it's the way that I think, but like, I see so many guys just squandering this skill set on just the skill set. Right. Oh, I've learned day game. Now I can go and get girls. It's like the girls are just one element of what this skill is. Like seduction is sales, right? What is game? It's learning how to get what you want. Yeah. So when you know how to get what you want on the streets, like the way that I always thought was like, fuck, I'm doing this thing. Like it opens up, like cold approach became the catalyst for the rest of my life. It unlocked the world for me. So like, if you look at all the skills you're learning, like basically like sales on the street, like objection handling, opening, building investment, overcoming objections, like dealing with rejection, building emotional resilience. Like to me, all that shit sounds like the exact skill set associated with a millionaire, like knowing how to actually operate in that way. So yeah, just know that when you are actually going out there and you are doing your whole cold approach thing, like it's way deeper than day game. Like just look at the skills that you're acquiring, look at the person that you're becoming, look at the experiences that you have. Like this shit just changes your life. Like it changes your life like to such a degree, and I think we're both living proof of that. Yeah. And I think that, yeah, go on.
Yeah, I was gonna say let me not do that. So yeah, the reason I wanted to speak on this part is because I had like a decent amount of sales experience prior to reaching out to Kristian, and sometimes like I wonder, like, why was I able to pick this skill up so quickly? And like the answer lies in the sales experience. It's because I was used to going door to door, getting the door slammed in my face, having to go to the next door and the next door and the next door and the next business and trying to sell them. So it's not that I liked sales, but sales was so integral to me actually being able to integrate this skill, cold approach, into my life. And that's why I was able to like pick it up so quickly, is because I had already become accustomed to all of the uncomfortable things that come along with being a salesperson. So, and kind of like what you just said, it's like cold approach is sales because you're just learning how to sell yourself. You're learning how to sell yourself better, how to deliver the value that you've built up to the girl, to the world, get her interested in you. So it really is this like sales dance to a certain extent. But yeah, the beauty of this is it amplifies whatever sales experience I or you may have had, because not only am I doing that same door to door, right? Door to door, approach to approach, but now I'm learning to deal with like the rejection in the public eye, which is a lot different. Like sales, they slam the door in my face, but like everybody knows, oh, that's just a fucking salesperson. Like he just goes door to door, nobody looks twice. But this is so different, because when I go girl to girl, when I stop them in the middle of the street, everybody's like, what is this guy doing? Like I've never seen anything like this. And it makes you have to be okay with that very fearful state of knowing that everybody can just listen to what you're saying and what you're doing. So I imagine, I don't plan on doing this because being a programmer allows me to fly place to place while making an income. But I imagine that if I decided to go back into sales, like I was already pretty good, but I think I'd be absolutely crushing it now, because I really just don't care what people think anymore. Like if I can do the scariest thing, approaching a girl in front of everybody, then I just know that these skills will transfer over into that environment. So yeah, it's kind of like you're selling yourself with cold approach.
Yeah, and like I just truly hope that, because I know we're not speaking to every single person on this stream. Like there's gonna be plenty of guys who watch this stream, maybe they're gonna unsubscribe because like I'm just here for the infields. Like that's fine, but like it's just like hopefully you can actually see in this content how we've actually developed. Like since I started to where we're at now, the best term that we've got is holistic life game. Like that's what this has become. It's not day game, it's not night game, it's life game. It's how can I become a multifaceted man who finds fulfillment in many things and uses cold approach as a way to leverage the rest of his life. Of course, we're doing it because we want to have beautiful experiences with the feminine, but like the girls really are the cherry on top. The women are a beautiful byproduct of an even more beautiful process. And if you can't see that, then I don't think I'm the person for you, right? If you want to go find a service provider who, does like a weekend course and maybe you'll get results, maybe you do. Like, I don't resonate with the pickup industry. Yeah. I don't resonate with the day game industry. I've never seen myself as a dating coach or a day gamer or a day game coach. Like I use that terminology because it's the thing that when you're playing the YouTube game, you need to know how to attract people, right? So that's why the terminology is used. But it's like when they actually come inside, they see the furniture is a lot different inside. Yeah. So I just want people to be aware that when you are learning a skill like this, the return on investment for the rest of your life is exponential. And I know it's difficult at first because when you are just first getting started, you just want to be able to approach. Yeah. Deeper than that, you just want to be accepted. Yeah. You just want the girls to like you. You want validation, and that's okay. Like I think it's a mistake that guys make where they think they're just going to be like this ultimate player on day one or week one or even year one. Yeah. Like I would say it took me about 2 years, right? 2 years from when I started, where I was going out because I genuinely wanted to meet women. Like for the first 2 years, it was, I want to be validated. Yeah. That's what it was, right? I wanted permission from the feminine. Yeah, I wanted to be validated because I didn't have that validation when I was growing up, right? So then day game became this way of me almost like making up for lost time in a way, but I almost had to like relearn everything. I was like, oh, well, I didn't have any girls growing up. So I'm like, now I'm doing the hardest thing, but it's a baptism of fire. It's a rite of passage. The other thing that I wanted to comment on was the concept of self-limiting beliefs, building more of a bulletproof mindset. Because I had a few messages today from guys and they were like, I'm kind of struggling at the moment with my mindset. I used to be quite a positive person and now I'm finding that I'm slipping back into more negative thought patterns. So, I mean, the first thing for me is having the abundance mindset, right? Abundance, I think, really is the antidote to all of your anxieties, right? If you've got like $2 million in the bank, you're not worried, you're not stressed about money anymore, right? So having that abundance, it's not always having, but knowing you can have. But then just I think for your overall mindset, just developing healthy practices. So like not talking down on yourself, yeah, not being like a crushingly cruel commentator of yourself, like not entertaining those self-deprecating thoughts, having cold showers, sprinting, meditating if you want to, going for a walk, going to the gym. Like all of these things are vital to develop a better mindset. Something you guys would add?
I love Christian's answer to that, because my answer is a little bit more blunt, which is probably things that people don't actually want to hear, but you've seen it if you've watched any of Christian's videos that I'm featured in, my mentality is just like on to the next. Like regardless of what happens, I'm going to keep on pushing. I'm going to keep on persevering. So yes, like a lot of the things that he shared, it helps me when I get into that negative mind state, but like maybe this is me having played football and had my coaches kick me in the ass when I was being a bitch. But for me, the action precedes the positive thought patterns. So you don't get to like think your way into confidence. You don't get to think your way into approaching women, into sales, into like, you have to earn your way to that state. And so what I've learned in sales, in cold approaching women, like it starts off bad, and that's gonna be the case for everybody. Like it's gonna be shit for you. It was shit for me at the start, but in reality, like you have to go through that portion of this. You have to put in the reps before you get the reward. And in this case, if the reward is more positive thought patterns, if the reward is a bulletproof sense of self-confidence, if the reward is you not having those self-limiting beliefs, or at least being able to stifle them now, then you have to put the reps in first. So there are things we can do to like pre-game it, right? Like getting your mindset right, cold showers, like these are things that are like actually chemically changing your brain. And so that is gonna help you. But yeah, I've always found that like every time that I feel kind of down in the dumps and I shoot Kristian a message, we have a relationship now where he's just like bluntly honest with me. Like he's seen me go from scared little boy to like going out and crushing it and doing every scary approach that there is. So I don't get to like use the pacifier anymore. So every time I say something like that, he just tells me to get the fuck out there and go do more approaches. Like that's the only antidote. And that's only in the context of day gaming, right? But like if it was sales and I was telling my manager like, yeah, I'm just not getting any sales, they just say, pick up the fucking phone. Like, why are you not on the phone right now? You're not making any sales. We'll get somebody on the phone then. We'll go knock on some more doors. So yeah, probably the more blunt way to say that, but that would be my answer to like, you have these negative thought patterns. And I'll admit, by the way, this is a lot easier said than done. So I'm not just like sitting here on my chair saying that to you. Yeah, this is what you need to do. I actually, like, this is what I do on a day-to-day basis. I literally have been documenting this day in and day out myself, going in for every approach, getting blown out of every approach. And you see, especially for me specifically, like by week 2, I had gone through so many reps that it's like I'd finally earned a date. I'd finally earned an experience with a girl. So if I had tried to get to this side of things before putting in the reps, then it's like, why? I didn't even earn the right to feel that way. So whenever I'm feeling like shit, if we're talking cold approach, I go approach girls. If we're talking sales, I pick up the phone. If we're talking really anything, like the action needs to precede the result, in my opinion. So
yeah, the final thing that I wanted to ask you then, because essentially you're someone who's completely changed their lives in like less than a year. You've just completely changed everything for yourself. I would be just curious to know, let's imagine there's a guy who's in the position that you were in a year ago. Like, let's imagine that there's a guy who's starting off his journey. Let's just say a guy who's starting off his life game journey, right? What advice would you give to that person who's right at the start? Maybe let's say he's 25 years old. He's living in a smaller city in the world. He doesn't have the healthiest mindsets regarding women. Maybe he doesn't have a good image of himself. Maybe he's a little bit out of shape. I don't know. But like, what advice would you give to this person who, let's say, is at rock bottom at the moment, but has seen this sort of content and other content and thinking to himself as he listens to this, right, I know that something needs to shift, We're making this live stream in January, so you've got an entire year ahead of you. There's no reason why this can't be the best year of your life. Like, seriously, like, you can make this the best year of your life simply by starting off by setting that intention. Like, this year is going to be the best fucking year of my life, right? But then making sure your actions match your ambition. So what would be your advice to that guy who's at rock bottom, wants to change, but isn't quite sure of the best way to do it?
Yeah. So I'll start off by saying that there's no use in me giving any advice being on the other side of this skill set. So the first thing that I have to say before I even give the advice is I have to share with you who I was before being on this side of the skill set, because that's the person that you might see yourself as, the same person that I saw myself as. So yeah, I started off definitely, I mean, I had no social skills coming out of high school. I played football, so I kind of got invited to parties every now and then. Very few experiences with women. Like I even looked decent in high school. I was athletic. I was a starting receiver. I thought I was cool, but like it was all fabricated. You know, it was all just like there was just the smoke there that made me feel as though I was adequate, I was worthy, whatever. And then everything changed as soon as I graduated. You know, friends move away, you become a nobody, right? You're top of the food chain in high school, and now you're just in the real world. You have no social skills, you have no hard skills. I had no soft skills, sales skills. So it's like, I truly I felt like a nobody in the world, which, to be honest, is like how most of us young men feel. So, and I don't know if that's by design, maybe it's because we haven't built anything yet, who knows? I'm still figuring that out myself. But yeah, I always want to start by just humbling myself, because you might be looking at me and you think, okay, this guy looks good. Okay, I've seen his infields. He's doing really good. Like, the gap is too big right now. And I'm here to share with you that like, the gap isn't very big at all. In fact, a year ago, I was in your position watching Kristian's live stream, watching Kristian's infields, thinking like, first of all, is this actually real? Second of all, could like any guy just do this? Or do I need to look a certain way? Do I need to be a certain height? Do I need to have a certain amount in my bank account? And so yeah, so now that I've set the stage, right? I was awful with girls. Even a year ago, I'd get no matches on online dating. I had no luck going to bars. Girls would ignore me. So now that you know like that person is who's speaking right now, the first bit of advice that I could give would just be, you have to kind of like cultivate faith in yourself. Like it does take a certain amount of self-belief to even reach out to Kristian. Like it's one thing just watching the videos, but there is like a step that you need to take. And it's kind of just like you just shrug your shoulders and you say like, let's see what happens here. And that's kind of what I did. I saw like, I remember one of the first messages I sent to you. I said, dude, like I see your infields and I have a hard time even watching your infields. They make me cringe so much. So I can't imagine me doing that, like actually taking the action that you're taking if I could barely even watch what you're doing. But there was just something in me where I was like, I really, maybe it's that I wanted it more. Like I wanted it so bad. I was so tired of girls walking past me and not even looking at me, not making eye contact with me. Every advance that I would make, they would reject, they would bat me away so quickly. I felt like nothing, genuinely. And I knew that I needed to take like radical action, but the problem is that we're fed this idea that you need to build yourself into the perfect archetype before you could even start the process of learning skill sets like this. And that's what I was subscribed to. I thought that I had to wait until I was 30. I had to wait until all my clothes had designer tags on them. I had to have a fancy car and I needed to have a fancy job and a fancy lifestyle before I could even consider going up to a girl. And that's because I didn't see myself as the NBA archetype, prototype build where we see guys that are 6'5" and they're tatted up and they got nice hair and we're like, oh yeah, well it's easy for them, right? But like I'm a very average, I'm 5'9", average weight, like so for guys like us, which is the majority of us, I thought that okay, the only alternative is I need to be rich, I need to be buff, I need to have everything sorted, and then I can attempt to like approach a girl. So, okay, that was a long preface. The advice is there is a leap of faith that you need to take. And it doesn't have to be faith in Kristian. It doesn't have to be faith in anyone in particular, but mostly it's just faith in like yourself. It's you taking a sum of money and investing it into the person that you want to be. And to be honest, when I signed up for Kristian's bootcamp, I didn't even know what that would look like. I couldn't even think of what it would look like to get to the end of our experience and actually have the skill and be able to do this on my own. I didn't know if I'd ever get there. In fact, I told my roommate at the time when I was going to Poland to meet Kristian, I was like, yeah, I'm going to learn how to approach girls, but who knows, I might pussy out and just fly back home not having done anything. because I didn't really have that much faith in myself. But so first piece of advice is you do need to cultivate this sense of faith and being able to take the leap. And then the second piece of advice is you also need to be able to put your faith to a certain extent in another individual, in the teacher that is looking to share the skill set with you. Like, we can use all the words and the terminology and the dollar amount and the day game and the cold and all the words and closing, right? All the words and the terms that we use. But in reality, it's you putting your faith in another individual that they have your best interest in mind. And the relationship is symbiotic, right? It's not like that's why you need to invest in it. If he was sharing the skill set for free, then he would be half-assing it because he's not getting anything out of it. You would be half-assing it because you didn't put anything into it. That's why there needs to be a medium transfer there. That's why there has to be value transfer, because you need to invest into yourself, into the person that's going to teach you. So yeah, second piece of advice would be you need to put your faith into somewhere. This isn't me trying to hard sell you on Kristian's courses, but it needs to go somewhere, right? Like you're aware that something needs to change or else you wouldn't be on the fucking live stream. So you have to take that leap of faith in yourself, and you have to take it in the other person. And then the last and arguably the most important piece of advice that I can give is it's gonna take a lot of fucking work, and there's no way around it. Like, he talks about this all the time. The reason why we get along so well is because on day one, I showed up and I said, I expect to get blown out of every conversation, and I want you to know that I'm gonna go in again and again, even though I know I'm gonna get blown out. And that's exactly what happened. And that's why he respected me from day one, because he was like, he knew that I didn't show up thinking that he had some package with a ribbon on top that he can just hand to me, and all of a sudden I have the skill. It's like, you have to develop the skill. Like, that is by definition what a skill is. You don't just get gifted a skill. You don't look at an NFL player and just, oh yeah, they're just naturally good at football. No, there's so many hours of work that went into their craft. So you need to be prepared to put in a lot of work with this stuff. And that's why I hope this last piece of advice gets rid of the majority of the people that are gonna watch this live stream, because those weren't the people that we're ever talking to anyways. Those are the people that were kind of hoping this was fake, so they had an excuse not to actually pursue it, or they were kind of hoping that they just had a magic pill that they can swallow, and all of a sudden their fears go away. We can only communicate this in so many ways. The fear that you feel, right? Maybe you haven't done your first approach yet, right? So the built up imagined fear that you feel, right? It's very real, I'll tell you that. And I still feel it, and I still go in anyways. And again, it's so much easier said than done, and I understand that. But the fear that you have surrounding this skill set, it's not going to go away by you signing up to work with Kristian, showing up in the country that you're working in, and shaking his hand, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, my fear is gone. But on the flip side of that, it's so much easier to have somebody that's actually competent, that's really at the top of the top as far as a skill set, walking you through, holding your hand through the skill. And what I really liked about Kristian's coaching, I know I'm going kind of off topic here, but what I really liked about Kristian's coaching is, although he did a lot for me and for all the guys that he works with, he always made it a point to remind me that it was still me doing it. It was still me approaching the girl. He was next to me, sure. He gave me a nudge, yeah, but I had to grab my balls, bring them along with me, go up to the girl, get in front of her, and I was feeling that anxiety in my chest that I know you know what I'm talking about, because every guy feels it, even though you probably think I somehow have surpassed it. I haven't. Today, we went out, I did 3 approaches. On every approach, same anxiety. I still felt it. But the reason why I'm better at it now is because I'm further along in the skill set. It's as simple as that. You need to start developing it. So yeah, I don't remember what my last point was, but yeah, first piece of advice, faith in yourself. Second, faith in another person. Oh yeah, and then third, expect to put in the work. And if you're not expecting to put in the work, click off the fucking live stream. This isn't the channel for you, genuinely. This isn't this is real. This skill set is real. And because it's real, you have to be the kind of person that is willing to put in the work. Not to say that there are certain people that are that person and there are certain people that aren't that person. Anybody can develop themselves into the person that is willing to put in the work, but that is the big prerequisite. You don't just get to show up and have the skill handed to you. It's earned. It truly is earned, which is why nobody, percentage-wise, nobody, right? The smallest percentage of men are ever going to build this skill, which is why it's so valuable, which is why it puts us in a different echelon when we go out on the streets, which is why I can approach a girl, and you'll see this in a video shortly. I can approach a girl with 60,000 followers on Instagram, DMs flooded with guys, and I can approach her, and it's an even playing field because all of those guys in the DMs, they weren't bold enough to do what the small act that I did, which is walk up to her in person. I get to skip the line, but I get to skip the line because I earned the right to skip the line. So that's my advice.
Yeah, the Instagram model, that was a thing of beauty. I'm
right
waiting,
there.
mate. When that video drops, I'm gonna be sending it to the email list.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be posting a community post. It's been fun for me as well being here because I've got to film like your conversations. It's been so fun, like just being like Dan is for me in London when we're filming, like an absolute ninja.
Yeah.
Just like, oh, this is actually so fun. It's like some like stealth operation where it's like I'm capturing content for you. But like, I think what you said is right. This only works if you do. That's the best way to frame it. It only works if you do, right? Like you said, it's not a magic bullet, right? You don't just turn up and it works. It's like you need to give this 100%. Yeah, you'll get out what you decide to put into it. And what I've found to be true in my career is there's basically two reasons why people choose not to invest in something. They're scared it won't work, and they're scared that they'll get ripped off, right? So the first thing, it won't work. It'll work if you do. That's it. It's literally your results are dependent on your actions, your beliefs, and ultimately your effort. It's about effort, right? If you've got the effort, great, you're gonna get to where you wanna be. If you don't, then fuck off, because you ain't gonna get anywhere. And that, I do now agree with that statement, the way you do anything is the way you do everything. I really believe in that. The way you train at the gym, the way you treat people, the way you approach, the way you run a business, the way you fucking drive your car, like how tidy your room is, like it's all a reflection of how you believe to be, what you believe to be true about yourself. And in terms of, I'll get ripped off, then that's why I make an active effort to make these live streams with my clients who, they're not even clients, my friends, right? That's why this channel is no longer about me. It's putting my clients, my friend on a pedestal and presenting them to you because ultimately they do the speaking on my behalf, right? If someone comes over and is like, oh yeah, this guy's a scam, this guy doesn't know how to coach.
Show them me.
Yeah, I show them you, I show them.
Just pan it to me and I'll be like, hey bro, he's a scam, look at me going for this one, watch.
And that's why it's like you've now got a YouTube channel.
Yeah.
One of my favorite quotes is evidence has the loudest voice. Yeah. If anyone ever wants to come at me about anything, I show them my client, I show them the testimonials, I show them my results. Right. And it's always been about that for me, right? I think there's many things that set me apart, but one of the main things that set me apart is the level of care. Yeah. The level of care that I give to my clients. Like, I truly do give a shit. And that's why I don't choose to work with everybody, because I don't want to work with people who I wouldn't be friends with outside of this. I don't want to be sat here in this apartment with some bozo that I don't like. I ain't going to do that. I don't need to take more money if it means that it's going to impact negatively on my lifestyle. I want to be traveling the world with like-minded guys. That's what this is about. It's not building a business, it's creating a lifestyle. I think that's the thing that really sets what we're building apart from, it literally blows every single other person in this industry out the water. Yeah. No one is doing what we're doing, traveling the world, bringing the guys along. We've got a private WhatsApp group. You can join the network, the Entourage, the link's below. Like, this is what it's about. It's holistic life game. It's leveling up your life across the board, becoming the most abundant, fuckable, carefree version of yourself, and ultimately just getting what you want in life. Like, I cannot wait for the day when I get invited to my first client wedding. Yeah. Imagine how great that's gonna be, man. I reckon it's gonna be George. Yeah, I reckon it's gonna be George.
Hopefully we can play the infield there too.
The infield is coming. We'll get Yak on the stereo, man. That'd be hilarious. But yeah, like fucking client weddings, man. Like, that's just, do you know what I mean? That's just amazing. Imagine just waking up, getting a message like, yeah, bro, wedding booked. Wow. That's like
all because of the skill.
Because of the skill. Yeah. Or first baby's on the way now. Like that. Like that is like, and it's like your relationships are the most important element of life. That's a fact. It's like the woman who you approach could then be your wife, the mother of your children. Like, that's why I care so much, because it's like that's how it's basically this is changing the world. And I don't think it's about changing the whole world, but I think it starts with changing someone's world. If you change enough somebody's, you make the world a better place. And that's the way that I perceive life now. When I'm going out there, when I'm creating content, I view myself as an artist who's changing the world. Maybe only 10,000 people will ever know about me, but that's fucking enough, man. That's enough, because I know the impact that I'm having, the people I'm speaking to, they get it, they understand it. And I think that's the best way to change the world, is by speaking to the people who actually resonate with you. So is there anything else that you want to add before we say au revoir?
No, I think that was a pretty solid stream.
Was there any? Why am I the only one watching? Because you're the chosen one, bro. Okay, now 3. We're all on our way. It's me. Cool. No idea what any of that means.
We'll see you soon, man.
Yeah, great. But no, this has been a good stream. Like I say, these are daily live streams for the remainder of the time that I'm out here in Cyprus. It's an accountability challenge for me as well. I like just creating these challenges. Right, let's do a live stream. It's just fun to do. And yeah, so we're gonna go out. We're gonna go find a nice restaurant to get steak. Steak is on me.
Deal.
Yeah, can't wait.
Definitely not tartar though.
Oh man, that was awful. We got scammed.
We
We got scammed. Tell them about the beef tartare.
We'll end on this, all right? So we went to a very fancy restaurant yesterday, and we thought we were getting a steal. There was sirloin and T-bone steak for $15. And we were like, wait, we're getting 2 separate steaks? Even if it was like half of each steak for $15, right? We wait about 30 minutes. Girl brings a plate of 2 tiny little balls of raw meat. And we're going, is this, she didn't really understand this, but we're like, this is the appetizer, right? Yeah. She's like, yeah. And then she shows us how to mix the onions with the eggplant with the custard or whatever it was.
By this point, I'd already eaten it.
Yeah.
that quail egg was history, man.
Yeah, he ate it. Bro, you're supposed to take little bites. The man ate it whole, just two.
One. And then yours.
Yeah, and then I was like, bro, I don't want this fucking appetizer. Here, have mine. And we sit around the table for another 25 minutes waiting for our steaks, and then we look at the menu and we go, oh, tartare, raw meat. Fuck, that was the main course. So, long story short, we went to another restaurant and had a burger and salmon. So yeah, I guess we didn't get scammed, but I felt scammed. So
yeah, we got absolutely finesse, man.
Yeah.
But listen, thank you for watching this all the way through. If you resonate with us, you like what we do, you want to do this, like if you literally want to come and travel the world with us, have these experiences, get mentored by me personally, and also more importantly, get access to our private network, the Entourage, there's a link below, because we know in this industry, unfortunately, there are a lot of fucking weird people, and I don't want to be associated with the weird people in this industry. So that's why I developed the Entourage. It's my private network. You come inside, get access to the WhatsApp group, you join our weekly group coaching calls. It's not a business, it's a lifestyle, and it's a lifestyle that I want you to be part of if you're the right fit. So just book in a free call. Like worst case scenario, you get to talk to me for 30 minutes. We'll find out if you're the right fit for the program. If I don't think you are, I ain't gonna sell you anything, right? I say no to more people I say yes to now, because my lifestyle is important to me. And I wanna make sure that everyone who's coming through have been vetted, audited, and are gonna get on with the rest of the guys. So link below, click it, book in a free call. We're gonna eat steak. Love yous all. Stay sexy. Hey.
Stay sexy, man.